Hello everyone and welcome to today's vlog. Today I am sharing what I made and ate today. So starting off with breakfast, I chopped up some bagels and added some egg and mayo, which I used boiled eggs with and mixed it with mayo and added it to the bagels. I also had coffee. So this was a nice healthy breakfast to start the day, full of protein. For lunchtime I made some ramen. So I started off by boiling the ramen and also boiling the pak choi. I fried the onion with some stock and I added in some mushrooms and some spring onions and some soy sauce. I also added in some chili powder for extra spicy seasoning. The ramen was going to be quite soupy, so I also fried the pak choi once it was boiled. I did break it apart a little bit to make it easier to eat. I just fried it until it was a little bit golden brown on both sides. And in a separate pan, I made some chicken mince, which I just heated in the pan. And I added in some seasoning and some soy sauce. I then added some sweet chili sauce. It also has some Chinese 5 spice in. And then I started to make the dumpling cases. I like to make them quite thick. You don't have to, it can be thin, but I quite like them to be thick. So once that was complete, I filled the dumpling cases with some mince and I just sealed them together. I didn't do it perfectly, it was just pressed down just to make sure there was a seal. And then I boiled them in some water. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then once they were boiled, I fried them in a pan with a little bit of olive oil until they were crispy and brown on both sides. This is the noodle after it's boiled. I wouldn't recommend getting the Itsu noodles as I felt it was quite soft, but the broth was really nice, but I feel like it could have been better if the noodles were better. Because like I said, the soup tasted really good, but the noodles was a little bit of a letdown, so I won't be getting Itsu noodles again. After everything was made, I just assembled it together. So I added in the pak choi, the soupy broth and the chicken. The chicken which I just made in the air fryer. And then it was also time to plate up the dumplings. These are one of my favourite snacks. They taste really good. I would definitely recommend that you try making these. And if you do want to make it thinner, you can get the cases at the supermarket. Okay, and here is the soupy broth, and I just added some boiled egg to it. And I garnished with some spring onions. And here is the meal complete. I served with a side of soy sauce to go with the dumplings. And I also sprinkled some sesame seeds on top of the dumplings. It actually turned out really nice. The soup was full of flavour. You could taste the soya, and the pak choi added a little bit of crunch, and the chicken was nice and tender, and the boiled egg just added that nice extra flavour to it as well. And the dumplings I did dip into the noodle soup as well, just to make it nice and soupy. And later on I also made some chicken, which I used sriracha, chili powder, some honey and some chili flakes. And then I made some of these tortellinis which were filled with cheese. I boiled them and I added a tiny bit of butter and some pepper and tomatoes and some mixed herbs. The butter that I used was very low fat butter. After I added some tomato pasta sauce, I also added in some tomato puree. So this goes really well because it's cheese inside the filling, and cheese and tomato go really well together. And the herb really gives it some extra flavour. So this is a nice and simple dish. I then served them up into a nice dish. And the last thing to do was to add some grated cheese on top. So this is a very nice meal to have in winter because it's nice and warm. And then I also served it with the honey glazed chicken. And for dessert, I just had some crispy buns that I made with chocolate and cornflakes. I only had one to keep it healthy, but I probably shouldn't have had it at all. And that's it for today. Please remember to like and subscribe for more. Thank you.